What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. First and foremost, shout out to everyone that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting. You guys are freaking awesome. Now, if we have a look at the markets today, surprisingly, it's not that bad. And what actually was the interesting thing to me was if you switch this over to Bitcoin, look at this. I mean, the majority is in the green today, which is really surprising, and I'm very interested to see that because, yeah, like when it comes to Bitcoin, usually it's kind of like Bitcoin leads the pack, and today the altcoins are actually doing better than Bitcoin, so that's really freaking cool. If we switch to the change, you'll see all sports seems to be taking the top. Then we have Dropple, which both of those I'm not really 100% too familiar with. I'll have to look into them a little more. Now, Siacoin is also moving up a little bit. So if we have a look over here, I can basically point out that there is this speculation because somebody circulated this around Reddit earlier saying that they noticed that Siacoin had a Bitcoin pairing on Binance. However, Binance hadn't officially come out and said anything about listing it yet. So people got really excited and the price shot up 14%. And that's kind of what's going on with Siacoin. We're going to have to see what plays out with that. Like I said, that's basically just some guy's picture as of right now, but I'm sure by the end of the day we'll know. And yeah, so I just wanted to note that, when life sends you these messages and you're behind a car that says hodl, you hodl, guys. Because that's a message from somebody way bigger than the both of us. Okay? So, another thing that you may have noticed as well is, what the heck is this? Ripple got a brand new logo. So we just talked about it, but essentially it's XRP, right? Because Ripple, they wanted to differentiate themselves. So you come over here, you still have the Ripple logo at the top, but they do differentiate the XRP digital asset. So obviously you have the XRP, and then if you were to go back to the main Ripple page, that would be more of in reference to Ripple Labs and what they're developing. So that's kind of what's up with the new Ripple logo, if you guys were wondering. So I also found this very interesting chart by Richard Wyckoff. Now, this is from a long time ago. It says this dude lived in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and this is an accumulation schematic. And essentially, he just goes over the phases of, market type cycles and things of that nature. Now, okay, there are a lot of people out there that are saying that this is just pure coincidence. It might be. It could be totally coincidental. But look at the similarities between the market right now and this chart. And if you look at it, we are in the phase 3 of the spring zone, which would put us right here. Which means if Bitcoin drops any lower than it is right now, they're pretty much looking at a direct spring upward. So one can hope, right? Wishful thinking, guys. Just give us this one. So that's basically an interesting chart that I wanted to point out. And another thing too is there was this poll circulating. There's only 57 responses, so it's not like you can really go by it. But they were saying that 47% of people say that they're actually not in the red, not as far as the all-time high is concerned, but as far as their initial deposits are. But as you can see down here, there is the majority that say they were either the beginning of 2017, 2016, 2015, middle of 2017, or end of 2017, with only 17% representing people that joined January of this year or later, which would basically correspond with these smaller portfolio dips in the red. So obviously anybody that was really investing in January and on, it's been a really tough ride. There's only been a few projects out there that have really been able to sort of stand the test of time. Off the top of my head, I know Zilliqa did really well during that time period. Ontology did really well during that time period. Icon did really well right in the beginning, and then it had, obviously the market just did its thing with that. So, but let's talk about this thing about price manipulation, because that's what everybody talks about, right? The prices go down, markets take a hit. Oh, there must be something terrible going on in the background, right? So this time it comes from a University of Texas study reported by the New York Times. Now, I have to say shout out to CryptoLark, because he definitely did a pretty good coverage of this whole Tether, Bitfinex, New York Times report. He gave his opinions on it. He said basically you don't want to support these kinds of things. So I will leave a link in the description. So shout out to CryptoLark for shedding some light on that. Now, the thing that came out was, it was in a paper that was released. There was a professor from the University of Texas, right? And he was essentially saying that there was a link between Tether trading on Bitfinex exchange and the price hikes of late 2017. The main summary of the paper says that less than 1% of time involving bulk Tether to Bitcoin transactions accounted for 50% of Bitcoin gains and 64% of other cryptocurrencies. Coincidentally, earlier this week, a Freedom of Information request was filed by the CFTC. The request was regarding subpoenas issued to Bitfinex and was denied because apparently it could interfere with the CFT's law enforcement activities. The identity of the individual who made the request was not released, but may well have been related to the University of Texas report. Okay, so that's basically what's coming out of Tether. Now, I've never really visited the Tether website before. I've never really had a need to do this, but essentially you could download the app, you can add funds and things of that nature. So basically, here's the thing. You have two sides of the coin here, pun intended. So you have the question that begs if you can just print Tether whenever you want, because you're not proving it. We have no third party auditing it, right? Who's to say that you or somebody or a an insider or whatever is having Tether printed, and this money essentially that's created out of thin air can now be used to actually purchase Bitcoin, right? So if you're able to print free money, what do you care what you do to the price, right? I'll just buy at the top. What do I care? If I lose, I'll just print more Tether, right? So those are some of the implications. Those are some of the concerns over it. There's also the idea that they're not being transparent because they're not allowing for these third-party audits. Now, the thing is that when you point to somebody and you go, oh, well, they're being subpoenaed, right? Well, a lot of people get subpoenaed, okay? It's a very common practice. However, here's the thing. What do you guys think? What is your take on this, okay? Like, what about if they have relationships with banks that they want to keep private? Now, here's the thing, and here's why I say this. I'm not sticking up for Tether. I just want us to be objective about it because it's so easy to just point the finger and go, it's your fault, right? So I'm not saying this way or that way. I mean, for me personally, Tether's just a tool. I just use it sometimes. I don't really care if it's real or not. I don't leave my money in Tether. I just use it, right? But then I thought to myself, is that being ignorant to the fact that it could be by the existence of this, that they can do whatever they want? Is that bad for the markets, right? But imagine if you have a relationship with a bank. Now, you know that, like, for example, Wells Fargo just recently, they cut off their credit card ability to buy. In other words, people using Wells Fargo can't use credit cards anymore on Coinbase, right? But at the same time, you're having the Coinbase funds come out. Well, we'll get into that in a bit, right? But so what I'm basically trying to say is that maybe these banks want it to be private. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they don't really want to expose on the surface because they're going to get ridiculed and potentially scrutinized. And then what if other partners that have relationships with these banks don't want to be a part of these banks anymore because they find out that they're dealing with Tether? So there is two sides to all of this. And I think that the Tether situation, I don't think it's going away anytime soon, but I think it's a very, very, very interesting situation. And as much as we hate talking about it, it's still affecting us, just like Mt. Gox is still affecting us. So these are things that we're going to have to talk about as time moves on. Now, getting off the whole Tether situation, you do have more positive sentiment, especially coming out of Tim Draper. He's saying that he believes that Bitcoin will have a market capitalization of $10 trillion within the next 10 years. It's possible. The total cryptocurrency market capitalization will be $100 trillion, meaning that Bitcoin will have just 10% of the market. That's a lot. But we'll see. The interesting thing, though, is he says he's not really interested in fiat. It loses value over time. And he said that he's actually secretly hoarding up on Bitcoin as we speak. Now, another story. Ex-Overstock chairman committed to crypto despite market woes, calls for U.S. regulatory clarity. That's not really what I wanted to take away from this story. So we do know that Overstock was one of the first companies to accept Bitcoin, for the most part, that I can remember, and they still do it today. And one of the interesting points that I wanted to highlight that he actually spoke about right here, let me find it. He says, despite the volatility for Overstock, accepting crypto payments offers many advantages over traditional credit card payments. He said, we have a processing fee for credit cards, and we employ about 40 people in our fraud department. That's a cost of doing business with credit cards, he said, adding, when we take cryptocurrency, we have a very small transaction fee with Coinbase, much smaller than our credit card processing fee, and we have no fraud prevention department. It's like a cash transaction. For us, that is a much cheaper way of doing business. Here's the funny part. Overstock shares jumped 11% from $35.50 to $39.40 following Johnson's comments. So there you go. Just talk about blockchain, talk about Bitcoin, and watch your price go up, right, for your stock. So then, this is what I was alluding to earlier, was Coinbase index funds. They are opening for investments between $250K and $200 million or $20 million, okay? So here's the interesting thing. How many average users, how many average people would you say have $250,000? Just laying around, just like laying around. Not many, right? So it's funny how you have banks shutting off credit cards to buy cryptocurrencies, but at the same time, you're basically opening these index funds that are, for the most part, encouraging big players, maybe even banks, to get involved, right? So these are all things that you have to think about. These are all things we have to think about, guys. So let's talk about some coin news. I do like to talk about coins. Now, obviously, Binance is an exchange, but it's a coin as well. So they just secured an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding. You're going to hear a lot of this if you guys are into crypto and stuff like that. So they've just secured an MOU with Digital Jersey, solidifying its intention in expanding its operations past Malta after its move from Japan. So Digital Jersey, a prominent financial business, is aiming to help Binance establish partnerships with other Jersey businesses for local banking and AML regulations. Jersey's proximity to and relationship with European nations would allow for Binance to easily adopt GBP, which CZ had alluded to earlier. He says, "We have chosen Jersey to be the next big step in our global expansion strategy for its clear and pro-crypto investment and regulatory environment. Cooperation with Jersey will not only benefit the local economy, but also form a strong operational foundation for our expansion into the rest of Europe." There you guys go. I love how, like, in the midst of all this madness, like CZ and Binance, they just do not care. They're just like, we're going to do what we have to do. We're bringing this to the masses and we're making this happen. So that's awesome. Let's talk about some partnerships, collaborations, and things coming out. So you do have Airswap. They say collaboration is key, and they've just partnered with Status, so now you'll be able to utilize the Status app and have direct access into Airswap. I'm sure there's a lot more that's going to come out of this partnership as well. I'm going to drop a link to this. You guys can have a nice read. We also have the ARK Core V2 being released, so there are many, many new things available. They talk about over 600,000 plus lines of new code at this point, etc. So I will drop a link to this as well. Very technical, you know, not anything I'm sure you guys want to hear me talk about right now, but I will drop that as well. Also, one of my favorite projects, a project that I have very, very strong belief and conviction in, is Elastos. I found an amazing article by Invest in Blockchain. You know, it's funny because I always want to try to like explain Elastos better. And look at this. This is amazing. What is Elastos? What does it do? Here's the 4 pillars of Elastos. They discuss blockchain, the Elastos runtime, virtual machine, SDK, carrier. Okay, then they go into all of that. Obviously, the team is probably one of the reasons that I originally got invested. I mean, Jihan Wu, Dahong Fei on the advisory board, that's pretty phenomenal, guys. So yeah, I will drop a link in the description for anybody that's still confused about exactly 100% what Elastos is. I know sometimes these things can be confusing. I also wanted to talk about Fortuna. They said we're happy to officially launch wiki.foto.io. The Fortuna Wiki displays a ton of resources and information about Fortuna. The wiki will evolve over time as much more information can be shared with the community. We hope you will find it useful. Now, Fortuna is also one of those projects that maybe people don't exactly understand on the surface, kind of like Elastos. So I've actually had an opportunity to potentially reach out to the team to maybe just have an opportunity to explain a little better what exactly it is and what they're looking to do in the future. So hopefully we'll get around to that at some point, so stick around. Another thing I wanted to say too is, so Brave software is, you know, the Brave browser, you have the basic attention token. So they're looking to give away $500,000 in BAT every single month. So the program is going to distribute $500,000 worth of basic attention token every single month. Here's how it's going to work. Each Brave user can claim $5 worth of Brave tokens every single month on a first come, first served basis. So basically, That's their incentive to get people to use the platform. The goal of the promotion is to encourage wider adoption of the Brave browser. More funds means more donations to content creators, providing increased incentive to adopt BAT payments as a replacement for online advertising, which would be great because I know we all hate ads. If you guys notice, you don't ever watch ads in the beginning of my channel. I respect the fact that ads are annoying, and yeah, but at the same time, I'm not making money off of these videos as far as ad revenue would go. So the trade-off is that by using the Brave browser and watching my videos, you would essentially be able to donate Brave to me in like a win-win kind of way. Plus, they're giving you $5 free Brave anyway. So if you guys want to support my channel or just get paid $5 a month in basic attention tokens, I do have a link below. You'll see it's like right next to a triangle that says Brave browser. If you download it, you'd be helping the channel and getting rid of these stupid ads. So anyway, getting into crypto news, because we have to always end on some crypto news. You have a Los Angeles-based Bitcoin trader basically getting in trouble, facing up to 30 months in federal prison for some things that they were doing on localbitcoins.com. So you have a 50-year-old Teresa Tetley reportedly earning roughly $300,000 annually through her black market business she ran under local Bitcoin username Bitcoin Maven. The report claims that Tetley had a local Bitcoin transaction volume between 6 million and 9.5 million from 2014 to 2017. The court documents revealed that Tetley has allegedly pleaded guilty to at least one charge, in particular a transaction worth $80,000 that involves funds tied to illegal drug trafficking. So guys, this is the slight issue that we may have moving forward if you do choose to use sites like this, is at least when you're doing it on an exchange, the funds are just kind of in a community pool. But when you're doing it on local Bitcoins or something like that, and you're connected directly to another account, even if you don't know what's going on, if they've used that cryptocurrency or those Bitcoin for illegal purposes, and even if you don't know or you're unaware of, which I think in this case it sounds like she was aware, but that could potentially come back to haunt you. So you might want to be careful doing Bitcoin transactions with people that you don't really know that well. Just kind of throwing it out there, guys. Also, Western Union will not add crypto transfer support in near future, says CEO. Does anybody really care? Why do you need Western Union if you're going to use crypto? Why would you want to pay an extra 30%? What is it, like a 30% remittance fee that they charge anyway? You see what I'm saying? Like, you're going extra work. Like, I'm going to get Western Union and then put crypto on Western Union when I could just send the crypto. It doesn't really make sense to me anyway, so I'm not really shocked about that post whatsoever. So there's a new Bitcoin core in town, and it's out to troll Bitcoin Cash. I thought this was really funny. I don't know if this is serious or not. It's a little bit confusing. So after Bitcoin Cash's November 2017 hard fork, which was, they were trying to fix the mining algorithm, you had a small group that resisted splitting the blockchain, and then they created a project called Bitcoin Classic. Yes, Clash-ic. Kind of weird to say. But because Bitcoin Classic didn't address the issue, it faded after a few months. But then yet another small group of persistent developers forked Bitcoin Classic. I hate saying that. Just whatever the heck. Fixing its issues, but leaving the update from Bitcoin Cash's most recent hard fork a couple weeks ago to create Bitcoin Core. So not the term that Roger Ver calls Bitcoin as in Bitcoin Core, but this is actually called BTCC. They say, we are the cool cousin that's a good wingman, unlike the other one hating and trying to steal your girl. So there you guys go. We have Bitcoin Core, BCC. Does anybody even care about these Bitcoin forks anymore? Why do we need all these Bitcoin forks? I mean, aside of just getting like free money for holding Bitcoin, what's the point? I don't know. But these guys look like they're doing it in a very lighthearted spirit. And to kind of end this on somewhat of a funny note, so you do have William Shatner. Now, if you guys don't know who William Shatner is, he is the original Captain Kirk from, the old Star Trek movies and stuff like that. So Shatner is the spokesperson for Solar Alliance, which is a Vancouver-based developer of alternative energy projects that announced plans to build a solar-powered Bitcoin mining operation in an abandoned southern Illinois factory. There you guys go. So William Shatner is now the spokesperson for a solar-powered Bitcoin mining farm. Never thought I'd see the day, guys. So I thought I would just end it on that kind of funny note. I hope everybody's having a great day today. The markets are slightly recovering. I know especially for the altcoins, they're looking a lot better. Yeah, not really much else to say. So tomorrow's Friday. For those of you that are doing the dollar cost averaging thing, this might be a really great opportunity. I don't know, not financial advice. I was thinking about doing like a top video. I haven't done that in a long time, like a top 10, top 5. But I've been really like scared to do it in this market because like there's a lot of projects I'm looking at, but what if I like do like a top 5 video and then all the market tanks, everybody's mad at me again. So, you know, but there are some projects I've been looking at. If you guys want me to make a top coin video, I will. But if the market tanks, the market tanks. I don't want you coming at me with pitchforks, okay? But there are some very, very severely undervalued projects right now, projects that have taken massive hits that I think are going to have an extreme rebound when this market does turn around. And yeah, so that being said, guys, I want to say thank you so much for coming back to my channel. If you haven't gotten subscribed yet, hit the bell notification. You guys know the drill. I don't have to tell you every single time. Download Brave Browser if you haven't. Join my Telegram group. Link in description. Leave me a comment. I love you guys. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say. So I hope you guys are having a great Thursday. I will definitely see you tomorrow. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.